I'm Ashley Korslund in for Pat Doris tonight. Welcome to The Story. All the ways to get in touch with us, by the way, are at the bottom of your screen. You can email us at thestory@kgw.com. Use the hashtag TheStoryKGW on Twitter, or just leave us a good old-fashioned voicemail. You can call the number 503-226-5090. We have talked a lot on this show about Measure 110, and it was passed about a year and a half ago and was supposed to change the game for addiction treatment. The measure decriminalized small amounts of drugs under the idea that users should be given substance abuse treatment options instead of being locked in jail. By and large, that hasn't happened. There is still a shortage of treatment options, and a state audit found out it's because the money earmarked for addiction services hasn't made it there. Mike Benner reports.
My mom battled meth and heroin addiction for most of my childhood.
Shamia Fagan sharing a personal story about drug addiction. Oregon's Secretary of State testifying this week that drugs are the reason her mom ended up homeless on the streets of Portland.
I am very, very deeply impacted by, and as I know many of us are, the drug abuse crisis that we have here in Oregon.
One avenue to address the crisis is Measure 110, passed by voters in November 2020. Measure 110 redirects millions of dollars in tax revenue from Oregon's legal marijuana industry to substance abuse treatment. The measure also decriminalizes small amounts of drugs like heroin, cocaine, and meth. Problem is,
ballot measure 110 has not been implemented without some bumps along the way, and some significant bumps along the way.
Those so-called bumps discovered during an audit of Measure 110 implementation were addressed during a virtual hearing Thursday. State auditors found that only a fraction of the funding earmarked for treatment centers has actually been sent out. This means people who need help aren't getting it.
We need to support those organizations who stood up, filled out applications, were approved by the council, and to get funding out the door for those.
Steve Allen, Behavioral Health Director at OHA, promises better days are ahead, and they better be because of this.
I think we are unfortunately well positioned for a rapid increase in overdose deaths. And
something Measure 110 was passed in part to prevent. But thus far, expectations have not been met, as pointed out by Secretary of State Fagan.
When the voters of Oregon passed Measure 110, we did so because we wanted to change a policy in Oregon to improve the lives of people, to improve our communities. And in the years since, we haven't seen that play out.
In Portland, Mike Benner for KGW News.
All right, let's talk about another new Oregon law that's slow to be adopted, frankly. Last year, the Oregon legislature passed a new gun control law. Senate Bill 554 got a lot of attention because it's a safe storage law. That means gun owners are legally required to keep guns secured in locked containers. But it also allows school districts across the state to ban all guns on campus, including guns owned by those who have concealed handgun licenses. That part of the law is optional. Those districts do not have to ban guns, but they can choose to. Now listen to this. A recent analysis from OPB found that most of Oregon's nearly 200 school districts have not adopted this policy. Only about 13% of the state school districts have banned guns. Some of them are in the Portland metro area, but that does not include Portland Public Schools. PPS and a lot of rural school districts have not chosen to ban guns from campus. PPS is trying to decide whether to enact that ban, and a group of parents is pushing for them to do it. They say they don't want any guns near their kids, especially after last month's massacre at an elementary school in Uvalde, Texas.
Portland is the state's largest school district, as you well know, and if you pass KGBB, you have the opportunity to protect tens of thousands of children from potential harm from a concealed carry permit holder bringing a gun on campus. According to the Associated Press, in 2018 alone, there were 30 mishaps on school grounds from someone bringing a weapon. These may have been unintentional, but they were traumatic and dangerous for all who were there. We know that guns and children do not mix. We need to do everything in our power to ensure that there are no gun mishaps on Portland Public School grounds. We are only 8 days away from the horrific mass shooting at Robb Elementary School in Uvalde, Texas. I know that each of you is as horrified by this tragedy as I am, and I know that you want to take action in the wake of that shooting. This is one step that can be done right now to make our children safer.
Well, other people say they would rather know that someone with a gun is at school. They think that would keep kids safer after the district got rid of school resource officers. They're not worried about people with concealed handgun licenses.
If we forbid concealed handgun licenses, carriers, that further exaggerates or amplifies the position that there's no defense. I mean, there's no deterrent, there's no defense at the school. The fact that we don't have SROs anymore is problematic for me. And then now that we add a prohibition of CHL carriers, there is what is the deterrence?
Okay, so where do we go from here? Well, right now, PPS is still taking public comment on whether to ban guns. The school board will likely take that up at their next meeting, which is on June 14th. So we'll keep you posted. Also working to enact stronger gun safety measures after Uvalde is Beaverton's Mayor Lacey Beatty. She recently talked at a forum for mayors on the west side and used her time to call for stronger gun laws. She's talking about that this week with Laurel Porter on Straight Talk.
You know, as a mom, I think I felt what a lot of parents in this region, in this country felt, which is disappointment in our lack of action to protect our young people. You know, as a war veteran, I felt unsafe for the first time in a long time. When I dropped my daughter off at school that next day, I had a similar feeling that I did when I was 19 years old in a war zone. But I wasn't in Iraq. I was in America.
What's your call to action?
You know, I think we need to have a unified voice in our state capital, and we need to work towards banning automatic weapons in this state. My hope would be we would do it across the country. But Oregon is forward thinking. We do things ahead of our peers. So let's do this thing to make sure that young people, that our young Oregonians are safe. We can do that. We can make the next meaningful step in gun control. We know people want to have universal background checks. We know people want safe storage. We know Americans would support a ban on automatic weapons. And furthermore, we know a ban would work because it has in this country before. From somebody who has seen what an automatic weapon does to a human body, you will never unsee that. We don't need our young people worried about that when they're trying to get an education. So yeah, I would support reasonable gun measures like that.
And are you a gun owner yourself?
I am a gun owner.
So you think there are gun owners in Oregon who would support reasonable measures like that?
Of course. I think I don't own an automatic weapon. I don't know a lot of people that do. I think that we fail to think about first steps. We always want, simple sentence solutions to complex problems. No one is trying to make sure that people can't own guns. We're trying to make sure that what happened in schools cannot happen again.
And Mayor Beatty says she supports the initiatives that a group of Portland faith leaders is trying to get on the November ballot. Those would require things like permits and background checks before someone can buy a gun. And they would ban the sale of many types of semi-automatic style guns in Oregon. If you'd like, you can watch Laurel's full conversation with Beaverton's mayor tonight on Straight Talk. That's at 7 o'clock on our KGW YouTube channel. Let's shift gears now. Really, we're going to talk about cars. How do you feel about self-driving cars? Are you maybe eager to sit back and relax instead of driving? Or maybe not at all, not for you. Send us an email and let us know what you think. Car companies have been working on self-driving technology for a while now, but for most of us, it's still a long ways off. Chris McGinnis has a look at why.
Arriving shortly at Embassy Suites by Hilton Phoenix Tempe.
I would love to ride in one.
I'm sure that's a lot of people's dream, is to have their own personal driver. So
the idea of autonomous vehicles, cars that drive themselves, sounds great to many people, akin to being chauffeured from place to place. Less worrying about parking, no concentrating on the road. Heck, instead of staring straight ahead for hours, you might be playing games or watching a movie with your kids on your next family road trip. That reality, however, is still many years away. And new testing you see here from AAA suggests some of the key automated features assigned to keep us all safe in the autonomous driving world don't even work in today's world.
Level 2 systems include things like adaptive cruise control and automatic emergency braking. AAA's Marie Dodds is referring to the scale of automation set forth by SAE, the Society of Automotive Engineers. 0 means minimal advanced driving assist technologies. 5 means 100% automation. There is no driver. Right now, level 2 is the highest level available to U.S. consumers.
And they take over steering, braking, and acceleration functions. And what we found is these systems can and do fail, especially in situations that aren't necessarily 100% routine.
Examples include when an object, say a car, a cyclist, or a pedestrian, suddenly appear in a driver's path. You're seeing video of AAA's tests on a closed track in the Bay Area earlier this year. The technologies tested by AAA failed to consistently avoid crashes with another car or bicycle during 15 test runs. Ryan Moy drives a 2019 Honda CR-V.
Even like the brakes, sometimes they'll sensor that nothing's in front of me. Like for example, this morning, and then I was just taking a sharper turn, and it thought that there was a car or something. It was like, brake, 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 and it automatically braked. And I was like, what's going on?
And there was no obstacle?
No obstacle, no. No, just a sharp turn.
For now, all drivers need to keep focused on the task at hand.
Whenever we're behind the wheel, we need to be alert, even when we have these systems engaged.
No, I chose to have none of them.
Why is that?
I trust myself more than a machine that maybe might break down.
Pam Burrows prefers the old-fashioned way.
I would be petrified to get into a car except for in Disneyland that drove by itself.
The rideshare company Waymo is testing driverless cars in Phoenix right now. But to be clear, you cannot purchase a self-driving vehicle. And AAA's polling shows that most consumers prefer that car manufacturers improve on current safety features first, since these will be the same features expected to work flawlessly if and when driverless cars come available. Chris McGinnis, KGW News.
Well, the school year is winding down, and with it, the end of a career for a school resource officer in Vancouver who always tries to brighten up the kids' days.
I've got sunshine on a cloudy day. Ooh, when it's cold outside, I've got the month of May.
For 2 decades, Tony Jacobs has been singing and dancing for students. Why he says it's so important for him to bring some music to the hallways. Hey, welcome back, and keep sending your questions and your comments to thestory@kgw.com or give us a call and leave a voicemail. 503-226-5090 is the number. Well, it's a swan song for a school security guard in Clark County. Tony Jacobs, the singing resource officer, is ending his career after 20 years with the Vancouver School District. Over the years, he's made a lot of kids feel better and smile with his voice. Tim Gordon shows us how Officer Jacobs is now singing his way into retirement.
You were made to go out and get her.
For 2 decades, this man has been walking school grounds. His latest assignment is at Vancouver School of Arts and Academics.
My name is Tony Jacobs. I'm a district resource officer for the Vancouver School District. Come on.
Officer Jacobs' first priority is to provide security for students.
What's up, man? How you doing this morning? Give it to me, give it to me, give it to me.
That starts with drop-off time in the morning.
How you doing?
Good.
All right.
But pretty much everything Tony does,
To let her into your heart.
he does with a song.
To make it better.
How's it going?
All right, how you doing? They always want to hear a song, so I try to come up with a song per day for them when they smile. My girl, my girl.
Jacob spent most of his career at 2 high schools in the district,
My girl.
getting some notoriety for his way of helping kids cope.
Just want to say hi to you.
Now at VSAA, which has students from 6th through 12th grade,
So how's your day going?
the officer's methods
Another one that likes old school music.
have remained the same.
When I'm down and he sees that, he'll come over and like start singing to me.
He comes from a musical family and started singing after another kid got him to join choir in high school.
Yes. Who is this guy? That guy who told me to come join the choir wound up being Kenny Gorlick, which we call now Kenny G.
Yep, that's a young Kenny G.
Kenny G, yep.
And as they say,
Hey, good morning.
the rest is history.
Yes. Yes.
He gets about a 95% wave back rate.
Can't see you in there, but hey. Oh yeah. Yeah, they've been like that the whole school year. Seriously, that's what I'm gonna miss too. Yeah, they're pretty good.
Tony will miss it because he is retiring, but he's not done yet.
I've got sunshine on a cloudy day.
We're Tony's biggest fans. Yeah.
He's the voice of an angel.
Let's go.
The joyful work continues into the school day.
Good morning. How you doing?
Doing all right. How are you?
With just a few weeks left,
Yeah.
Tony's making some special appearances
And the night's all right with me.
with a group from choir.
Lovely day. It's gonna be a lovely day. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Good job. Thank you, guys. All right.
When you get down to it, Tony is a performer in a security officer's uniform.
Have a good day, Officer Ken.
You too. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Daddy's home.
Working the hallways.
Your daddy's home.
This is about connecting with kids.
Yeah.
And it's working.
Hi, Tony.
How you doing?
And checking in with another student
I just have to do this assignment.
who needs a sympathetic ear.
What class is it? Someday.
Then it's on to one more group of
Get
kids
it undone. Any birthdays?
for a few more
Any
songs.
birthdays? Happy birthday, dear Riley.
All in a day's work for a guy whose main reason for hanging it up
To you. Thank you, guys.
may be the result of 45 years refereeing youth sports.
Basically, that's a good question. This knee right here, I need a total knee replacement.
Of course,
That's about it.
he did it the
Yeah.
Tony Jacobs way.
I'm known as the referee that dances. I said, oh yeah, I make some serious moves. Instead of just going, so I got foul on 2-4, block. I say, I got block on 2, boom. Oh yeah.
But when he's all fixed up,
Whoa.
he may have trouble
Okay.
staying away from school
Michael Jordan came out of retirement, so you never know.
because he still loves what he does
You never know.
for the kids.
How you doing today?
He's like my favorite person on campus.
I like to see everyone happy. That's the whole point, just reaching out to them. And, there's people have different techniques to get to students. Mine is singing. Mrs.
Tim Gordon,
Mrs. Jones.
KGW News.
We got a thing going on.
And I have a feeling that will not be the last we see of Mr. Tony Jacobs. I have a special place in my heart for Tony. I've known him for 7 years or so, and Tony has done so much work for the school's food pantry, helping students in need. He's thrown some amazing fundraising concerts and just has a heart of gold. Tony, I know those students are going to miss you. By the way, Tony is going to keep singing. Next Friday, June 10th, he'll be at the Black Angus restaurant in downtown Vancouver. There's a little show at 7 p.m. as part of his own retirement party. Then his last day with the district is June 16th. Congratulations on a legendary career, Tony. Well, let's stay in Clark County, shall we? We're heading to the little town of Amboy, Washington to find out how it got that name. Turns out there are a few different theories, all of them stemming from the town's first post office. We'll explain when the story continues. Hey, welcome back. So earlier this week, we got a message from viewer Gary, who wrote, "A friend of mine at the Historical Society gave me a gift of a book named Oregon Geographic Names. It lists cities, counties, and places in Oregon and how they got their names. Some of them are pretty interesting. Just an idea for your show to feature some of them from time to time." Well, Gary, thanks for your message, and you are in luck because our Devin Haskins had the same idea, and he's been working on it for a little while now. This week, he went north of Oregon, though, to Amboy, Washington.
Small in size and easy to say, Amboy, Washington is exactly that. Only about 2,000 or so people live in this very rural area of North Clark County. A place with no stoplights or fast food restaurants, so it leaves you wondering.
What is it known for? Nick's Tavern. I'm sorry.
No, seriously, it's even on their sign telling you where Amboy is. It's also well known for its annual Summer Territorial Day celebration, celebrating the town's first post office.
So this area up here was kind of known as Salachi Valley, Salachi Prairie. The Native Americans were here, and it didn't actually have a name until Amos Ball came and gave it the name in 1886.
That's this guy. Amos Ball was a Civil War soldier from Wisconsin that came out west with plans to homestead. He was a carpenter by trade, built a logging mill and dam here, and held a few other titles too.
He was a county commissioner for a while. He was also a justice of the peace. And in 1886, he decided this town needed a post office.
He He applied for and was granted a post office, a key feature of any newly populated area. He called it Amboy. Just where did Amboy come from? It's not named after the other cities in America by the same name. Instead, there's a few theories floating around. Theory 1?
He was given a list from the post office to pick from.
Or there's Theory 2.
And another is that he chose the name Amboy because it was easy for any schoolboy to spell or say.
Then there's a third theory. I was hoping this one was true.
There were 3 gentlemen that lived around Amboy, and their initials were all AMB, as were Amos Ball's. And so they said, well, Amboy was named after the AM boys.
It's said the Ball family prefers option number 2.
Because it was easy for any schoolboy to spell or say.
Maybe there's a little truth to all 3.
And we're going with the family tradition one, but we also kind of, think, okay, they may have been called the AM boys, but we think it was after Amboy was named.
Either way, if you find yourself in Clark County, north of Battleground, just know that's what's in a name.
I love these segments. It's so fun to hear the history of all our towns. Okay, keep sending your questions and your comments to thestory@kgw.com. We will finish the show right after this. All right, for this week's Hey Help campaign, we are asking you to donate to PDX Saints Love. They help people experiencing homelessness and addiction in Portland. The group puts on community fairs. They offer things like showers and haircuts, clothing, hot food, and other resources. They also provide mentorship, though, to people who want to get off the street. So if you would like to help this great organization, you can hold your phone's camera right up to that QR code on the screen. It'll get you information, or you can go to kgw.com/heyhelp. Now, this is a micro donation drive, so feel free to give any amount, no matter how small it is. It still helps. Well, that's the end of our show. Thanks so much for watching. The news at 6:30 with